not going to have access to redemption and to getting back on the good side of the Heavenly Father unless we, pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, and so we need to make sure that we establish that connection. That's our lifeline and our form of communication. We have physical communication here, on the earth with other people, and then you have spiritual communication, which doesn't even require. Start off with that Luke 18.
This is Luke the 18th chapter and the first verse. It reads, "And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray, and not to faint, saying."
Yeah, because Yahushua, of course, was sent by the Heavenly Father to give instruction, to give good news, to give the directions on what we need to do. Okay, he gave us the Lord's Prayer. He gave us many different parables. So we're going to go into one of these parables to give an example of the attitude that we should have when we do pray. Okay, go ahead.
"Saying, there was in a city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city unto him, saying, Avenge me of mine adversary."
Okay, awesome. So again, a parable is an example or kind of like a story to compare one thing to another, kind of like a metaphor, if you will. So Yahushua is painting the picture, so we got to follow along as we're reading, okay, with this scenario that Yahushua is telling.
Envision it in your head.
Right. Because that's the purpose of a parable. If you're not spiritual, you're not going to be able to connect the dots,
right,
and make the connection on the greater point that's being made in the parable. Okay. So can you start with verse 2 again, Mom?
Verse 2 again, this is Luke 18, verse 2. It says, "Saying, there was in a city a judge, which feared not God, and there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, Avenge me of mine adversary."
Right.
Within himself, "Though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her."
Right. Because she consistently kept going to the judge. Okay, right? We'll continue on reading.
It says,
Outside expounds on that.
Yeah, it says, "Lest by her continual coming she weary me." This bitch get on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. As go by, they call you again. Eventually you're gonna pick up the phone like, man, damn, man.
Right.
Like, even if you didn't. Right. And so, even when you go in, Revelation here, and we get illuminated, we wake up.
James chapter 1, verse 5. You can break it down, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him."
Could get on somebody for asking you a question, but them or belittle them for asking a sincere question because they're trying to gain understanding that they.
Verse 5. "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High God, and he will give it to we serve who actually is just." Reply unto our prayer. That was an unjust judge, and he still did it. Right here, the scripture is saying the Lord ain't going to upbraid you. He ain't going to rebuke you if you ask. Now you, of course, you got to have your mindset and your spirit in order when you pray to the.
"Though he bear long with him,
Can somebody
shall he find faith on the earth."
goes into the next point is faith, and if you don't have faith, you're not gonna pray, which is why a lot of people see. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about the Lord and the Son
In the so-called
Not depart our adversary.
jump up a couple of
For the widow, when she poured out,
don't get tired of you praying that, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the weapons that the Lord has given unto us, man.
any on the positive side, go ahead.
come.
What the Lord's given us with our temple, to the 7 churches. Using him with oil in the name of the Lord. So that shows that there's power in the name of the Lord. Of course, you can pray without it, but it strengthens it.
That's right.
That's
It also anoints the process. That brother's getting the weight off his chest that James 5 talked about. Confesses we actually care. But we're the only ones that have this access through Yahushua's blood.
Kind. Yep. Even when you could look at in Isaiah, when Hezekiah was told that he was going to die, and then he prayed to the Most High severely,
Right.
and the Lord came back to Isaiah and told him, hey, look, tell Hezekiah Hezekiah prayed to is the same power that we serve, right?
They shall be forgiven him.
And we may request prayer for ourselves. I'm gonna let you continue on in that second part of verse 16.
Okay.
It speaks for itself. It's actually a fact. It's itself to work. Let's see here. To be operative, to put forth power. to display one's activity, to show oneself operative.
Best version of myself doing this. If you continue to do
With this work.
You think Yahweh didn't know he was keeper, saying it's times when he was in that James 5?
It's a fervent prayer of a righteous man that it might not rain. And it rained.
Fasting for 100 years. He was
Example of somebody that prayed for the automatic death. Automatic.
this whole agriculture.
Samson's last miraculous act.
if you could, or whoever's reading that first.
I mean, I know he starts in verse 1. I know the point. Chapter 18, verse 40. And he put his face between his knees.
So real quick, this is a form praying like, you know what I mean, like, but he's sitting down, you know, with his head down, sitting down, like, you know, just on the ground with his head down, right? Go ahead, Uncle Sean.
It says in verse 43, and said unto his servant, go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and looked and said, there is nothing. And he said, go again 7 times.
Right. So this is after Elijah prayed for the rain to return. Okay. Elijah's servant went up to see if there's any form of any type of precipitation that he could see. First time he looked, he didn't see nothing. Neither the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. He said he went up 7 times. That's that faith that Elijah had. He didn't say, "Oh man, damn, what? Did my prayer not work?" He said, "You know what? Okay, go up 7 times."
Yeah, just keep looking until it happens.
Complete 7.
Right.
Complete faith.
Exactly. Bible shall I continue on?
Come, verse 44. And it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, behold, there ariseth a little cloud out of the sea, like a man's hand. And he said, go up, say unto Ahab, prepare thy chariot and get thee down, that rain stop thee not. Excuse me.
Right. So that's heavy right there. A tiny little cloud the size of a man's hand in the sky. You can barely. How you gonna see a hand in the sky? That's how small it was. And Elijah was like, "Hey, tell the king, hurry up and get back to where you're supposed to go, cause the rain finna be so heavy. You ain't gonna be soon. You're not gonna be able to ride your horse, your chariot."
That's right. That's right.
That lets you know that what was seen versus what actually happened shortly after.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
God, bro. And you touched up a second ago on Elijah's faith, expecting, because that's what he did. He expected the rain to happen, and it happened. When you look at Elijah's faith and all those examples, and even a bunch of other great men, like, for example, he told, like, we're reading about Ahab to get on his chariot before the rain stops him. It ain't even rained yet. It ain't rained for 3 years yet. And he already knew that rain was going to come. That's different level of faith right there, bro. But when you endure long enough, when you go through your trials and your tribulations, and the Lord allows you to come out on the other end, it enhances your faith to the point where you pray for stuff like that, and it happens. It'll get to the point where you low-key feel like a Stephen Curry heat check when you start throwing prayers up, bro. The Lord will start doing that, man.
What is it? Revelation 11 and 6? Where it talks, hey, the elect are going to get to that point through the tests and trials we're about to go through.
Absolutely.
So, that's what we got to be praying for, more faith. Because that's the only way we even get out of what's coming.
Absolutely.
Because if we looking with the eyes on our face, we ain't going to make it.
That's it. Hey, if you just read that last verse for the point.
This is back in 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 45. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rolled and went to Jezreel.
So that's crazy, right? There was no rain for 3 days, for 3.5 years, and then that wasn't no coincidence. It was. How when it gets so many damn clouds it's gonna pour down when it just gets dark outside in broad daylight. That's how thick that clouds was, man. So going back to that James 5, that was actually the point. Now I want to segue and get real quick Mark chapter 11, chapter 11 verse 23, and then another brother can get Daniel chapter 6 and 12. You get that Mark 11 first.
It's Mark 11 and 23. It reads, For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith.
You see that? So that's the the key thing that you can't take away. You have to have that belief that that prayer is going to come to pass, okay? And you have to be asking it with the intention of doing the Lord's will, right? And so, can you read verse 24, bro, for sure?
In verse 24, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye do,
As a nation, you know, us having the power is through this prayer, man. Okay, so that's why we always pray. So, what was the other one I wanted? I'm gonna actually come back to it. That's why. Because
it says, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto
right. So that term, you know, if you have faith, did that. Wow. And then how should I give this parable? Pretty much.
A tree is a tree, and they have long lives.
it says, therefore I say unto you,
Heard that if 20 think like doubt.
That's right.
Like you
I don't know about to be destroyed.
Because ye ask not, and ye ask.
supposed to be, but you don't have belief or that relationship like you're supposed to.
that's heavy.
Like spiritual daddy issues.
Man, you're right.
Hey, and that's what the Lord looking for you to really genuinely believe that He is. Is that's why we read earlier, shall He find faith on the earth?
Right.
That's what He's looking for. You know.
So good. So, all right, we're gonna come back to the Mark 11, but can we
Daniel
jump to that
6.
next? Yeah, Daniel 6, shot.
Yeah, this is Daniel 6 and you said 12, right?
Shot.
This is Daniel 6 and verse 12.
Because when you read, obviously, well, for backdrop, this is the chapter, you know, of Daniel in the lion's den. You know, when you read up, you know, you can start up at verse 1, but we're jumping, you know, get to the point, basically how often Daniel prayed. Okay, go ahead, Shot.
Come, I'm actually started at 11.
Yeah.
It says, then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning Daniel's decree. Concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or any man within 30 days, save the king, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altered not. Then answered they and said before the king that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regretteth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day.
Right. So Daniel prayed to the Most High 3 times a day. Okay. He set aside time to pray and continue to establish that relationship with the Lord. Right.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where you had other people hating on Daniel just because of the fact that he was praying to the Lord. That's it. Oh no.
Them niggas went out their way. Hey, king, we should make this decree.
I
Whole ass niggas at your job do shit like that. I know brothers have been through a various situations. These niggas
Pocket
went out
watching.
there. Go ahead.
You niggas pocket watching.
Yeah, they was pocket watching.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna jump ahead. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all making beautiful points.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, prayer shows a lot of things. It exposes, brings things to light. You know, if somebody got a problem with you praying, that shows you what type of spirit they're in. You know?
Yeah.
Now, oh, go ahead. What you gonna say?
The world finna have a problem with us here soon.
Right.
But the same way our faith is gonna get us into trouble, it's gonna get us out.
Right. Right. And this is a beautiful example of that, this chapter. Okay? So,
And which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces.
okay, the result of Daniel simply just praying the whole time. Of course, he got thrown to the lion's den and he continued to pray, right? And then guess what? The people that accused him and their wives and their children got eaten alive by the same lions that they were trying to use to kill Daniel.
Right.
So that shows you, man, that we don't really have to move a muscle when it comes to. That's what the scripture that says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We gotta move that spiritual muscle.
Yeah.
This is that faith, man.
Yeah.
I got a precept whenever you.
Yeah, that was the point. Go ahead.
It's Hebrews 11 and 33. It says, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. So faith, that spiritual muscle we talking about, could do all those things, and they keep going.
Yeah.
You know, so this is for anybody, you know, because you got these other Israelites, these faith-based Israelites. They try to make fun of faith, bro. That's where all the strength comes from.
Right.
That's the muscle we need to be flexing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Real quick, could somebody get 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 13? Just going to get another example, because it's good to go over the examples, because it reminds you, like, damn, if you remember the fact that actually happened, most of the situations that we face is not going to be as extreme, you know, as what we're reading. Okay, we may come across, you know, towards the end, of course, that hour of temptation, where we're gonna have to take it to the next level. But these reminders are good, or these examples are good reminders of where
We know the Lord can fix our problems, so it should be no doubt if He could deliver Daniel from the lions,
right.
He could deliver you out of that being around that manager at work.
Mm-hmm.
He could deliver you, you know, I'm short on the rent, the bills. I'm in a situation where I'm not financially, you know. He could deliver you out of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to Him.
Yep. Whereas most people's fake faith would waver, ours needs to be strong in those times where, you know, we face that adversity. Okay. Anybody got that 2 Kings 13? And,
Kings?
yeah, 2 Kings. I'm sorry, chapter 6 and verse 13. I'm sorry.
I got it. Oh.
Yeah.
2 Kings chapter 6 verse 13. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And they were told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan.
Right. So I'm gonna give an abridgment of this chapter as well. This was, you could say, during the Assyrian Empire, before, you know, the Assyrians fully took over Samaria. You had this guy, king of the Assyrians, Ben-Hadad. He was basically trying to, or excuse me, king of Syria, excuse me. So this was actually a little bit before the Syrian Empire really got you know, full strength. I mean, of course, it was still there, but it wasn't the top dog. You had the Syrians first. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the ones that was really trying to take over Samaria, right? So Ben-Hadad was like trying to see, like, where's Elijah? Like, you know, this guy's a problem. He's telling the king of Israel all my moves. You know what I'm saying? So he sent out spies throughout Israel to find where Elijah lived. You know what I'm saying? See where he at, what city he's in. Okay, so that's the backdrop. Okay, and it said they found out that he was in Dothan, which is a city like north Samaria. Okay, go ahead. Sure. Verse, was that 14?
Yeah, verse 14.
Yeah.
Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host.
Yeah, so the king of Syria sent a big ass army for one man, right? Go ahead.
And they came by night and compassed the city about.
Right.
And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city both with horses and chariots.
Right. So whenever you had a city compassed about with horses and chariots, you know you're in trouble. Okay. Somebody got some issues with you. You know. So think about how he could have reacted, and see what his reaction actually was. Again, this was Elisha. Now this is
Answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
right. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountains full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Right. See? So we off of the fact that Elisha prayed to the Most High to open up the eyes of his servant so he could see what Elisha saw. You know? And that's what, you know. And you can just read verse 18 and we'll go back to one more in Matthew 8. Somebody can get Matthew 8 and 23. Yeah.
So, verse 18, and when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite these people, I pray thee, with blindness, and he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha.
Yeah. So again, man, basically, now these are high level examples of the power, and there's gonna be more things. How should I say greater things than this you're gonna do, right? But just as a reminder of the things that have already been done in the past, okay, and that we serve the same power in these same times, man. Okay, to the point where he blinded them in the sense of Elisha, not Elijah, to find Elisha and basically take him back to the king or kill him. And Elisha prayed for those men to receive blindness, basically just forget the mission they was on. Like, hey, look, hey, you guys follow me, and you just led him away, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, we can get that example.
When he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered. It shows his composure in the midst of a storm. Mm-hmm. We're going to have that kind of composure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We perish. And he said unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?
Hey, but let's pause there, man. In the middle of a sea, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like, yo, like,
he said the waves,
I could drown out here.
He said the waves were covering the ship.
Yeah.
It was going under the waves and what, you know what I mean?
Man, say, you know what I mean? It probably was raining, probably was nighttime,
Couldn't signal nobody for help.
Yeah. You just threw, like, no life jackets. If you shipwreck, you out of there.
Cast away.
Yeah. And the disciples woke up, how shot like, Lord, Baruch shot, help something. They had at least enough, inclination to ask, for help. You know what I'm saying? That they're like, okay, if anybody can help us, Yahushua can.
That's right.
Right?
And Shalaki right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying that situation obviously had to happen because it happened. But you was pretty much alluding to this going into like in the flesh. You looking at him like, yo, how's he still asleep?
Ain't no way.
All this one right there. And he woke up and rebuked them still. So when those moments get dark, resort to the Lord, man, because the Lord's still with you. He ain't forgot about you, man.
Mm-hmm. Why would you have even a thought, inkling that, it's going to all end here?
That's right.
Come on, dude.
Yes. But when you're in the situation, your instinct is to go to prayer.
Yeah, but it comes with muscle memory, just like with any sport. When you do it enough, then it becomes second nature.
That's
but your
doubt in the fight comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Relationship strong enough to be a part of the number. Yeah. That we know, So like I said, probably said muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Give deal just to make a call and let you sure. Because I said pray without ceasing. So when you do that, you ain't gonna fail.
That's right. That's right, man. Beautiful. What verse you want?
26.
Okay, read verse 26.
It's Matthew 8 and 26. From the top it reads, and he saith unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was great calm.
Imagine that, man. The elements, some about the elements, like rain and like forest fires, stuff you can't control, or stuff you don't think you can control. You don't think that you can control the weather.
Yeah, when they have I forgot the term. It might be called the blue whale effect.
I was thinking about that.
The blue whale effect, like when you see a majestic beast that big, you realize how insignificant you are.
Yes.
Or when you're on the sea and you see it as endless, you realize like, damn, I'm not as important as I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
Or you go to the Grand Canyon, you see how vast it is. It's like, whoa. Mm-hmm. For somebody a person to manipulate.
To put them through that, just so they can build that muscle that you talk about.
Pray for
James, a servant of God,
and knock on that door again. Garden of Gethsemane. Sometimes you got to go back and pray a couple times for that thing for the Lord before the Lord grants it to you.
And you have to consider if the Lord doesn't grant your permission.
I had brothers was back in Mark chapter 11. Now I wanted to get 25. If he's a true brother, the Lord gonna get you, man. But we always throw that out. Missions that he went into, all the epistles that he wrote. Nobody. Can you read verse 25, right?
Yeah. That your Father also, which is in heaven,
Yeah, we can't just forget that.
give you your trespasses.
See? So if you got, of course, the Lord will deal accordingly. So neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespasses.
You gotta talk to us.
Man,
Getting a little bit, man, but I'm
yeah,
gonna
we was
that
that
room.
trail.
I appreciate that, bro.